Are you ready to take charge of your wellness journey? Introducing Equilibria's Daily Women's Microbiome Defense, the ultimate 3-in-1 capsule for digestive health and gut barrier protection. Made by a woman owned wellness brand, Equilibria ensures you're never alone on your path to well being, offering personalized one on one support. EQ's microbiome defense is not just any probiotic supplement. It's carefully crafted with probiotics studied specifically for women's health, supporting digestion, immunity, and even skin health. Plus, with consistent use, you'll notice improved energy, mood, and radiant skin. I'm most excited about overall gut health. As I get older, I'm realizing the importance of a healthy gut, and EQ's microbiome defense makes it easy. Are you ready to experience the benefits firsthand? Head to myeq.com and use code Affirmations for 15% off Equilibria's microbiome defense and much more. That's myeq.com and use code Affirmations at checkout for 15% off site-wide today. If you're going through menopause, perimenopause, or you just can't seem to find comfort in your body anymore, then it's time to try Hormone Harmony. Created by Happy Mammoth, this science backed solution has become a phenomenon. With adaptogens to help your body adapt to hormonal changes, Hormone Harmony tackles hot flashes and night sweats, racing thoughts, low moods, poor sleep, occasional bloating and gas, no desire to be in bed next to someone, if you know what I mean, and other things. Plus, with over 17,000 reviews mentioning feeling like myself again, it's a game changer. Get 15% off your first order at happymammoth.com with code AFFIRMATIONS. Don't let menopause or hormonal changes hold you back. Try Hormone Harmony today. It has been over a month since you last heard from me, and for that, I apologize. So, AFBG family, let's have an honest conversation.
Few things are as powerful.
Few things are as powerful as
What is going on, beautiful people? You are listening to the Affirmations for Black Girls podcast, where we focus on personal growth and cultivating a healthy relationship with ourselves. I am your host, Tyra, the creative, actress, content creator, and mental health enthusiast, and it's time to air out all of my dirty laundry. Well, it's not really dirty laundry, y'all, but let's dive into where I've been and why I took an impromptu hiatus from the podcast. And before we go any further, no, the podcast is not ending, y'all. And I actually have some exciting things in mind for the future of AFBG, and we will get all into that after our affirmation of the week. So, this week's affirmation is: I am allowing what is for me to flow into my life and what is not for me to drift away. Let's go ahead and drop in, you guys. I am allowing what is for me to flow into my life and what is not for me to drift away. I am allowing what is for me to flow into my life and what is not for me to drift away. I am allowing what is for me to flow into my life and what is not for me to drift away. I am allowing what is for me to flow into my life and what is not for me to drift away. I am allowing what is for me to flow into my life and what is not for me to drift away. Let's say it one last time together. I am allowing what is for me to flow into my life and what is not for me to drift away. Y'all, this affirmation is right on time, y'all. I have been in a state of paralyzation creatively, and I may be about to dump here, so get ready, y'all. Now, I've said this before, but this podcast started out as a hobby, something to do to pass the time during COVID. And while I am grateful for the community that we've built here, this podcast has become a responsibility, one that I love to have, but a responsibility nonetheless. And once I feel responsible for something, I feel obligated to make sure it receives my undivided attention. And that's not something that I'm able to do all at all times given the circumstances. In a nutshell, AFBG is growing at a rate that I can honestly but not very easily say I was not prepared for. And it's taken me this month away, well, honestly, the entire life of the podcast so far to realize that that's okay. It's okay not to have things figured out. It's okay to jump off of a cliff and build a parachute on the way down. When I think about established podcasts, I think about a camera crew, producers, writers, researchers, multiple hosts, etc., right? And I know, y'all, I have said this plenty of times on other platforms that I create content on. Do it with what you got. Don't wait for perfect. But I did do that. I started with what I had in Affirmations for Black Girls. And at the time of the inception of the show, that was a Yeti mic in my little studio apartment right after a very nasty breakup during COVID. My life has blossomed so much since then, and for that, I'm grateful. The original concept of Affirmations for Black Girls was to share stories of hurt, triumph, lessons learned, and overall growth. I started out with a more serious tone, and I've realized that all of us, Black girls and beyond, are a spectrum. We aren't one note, we have layers. We are onions, baby. And I want to be able to share more of who I am in all of my vibrant and maybe not so vibrant colors. So, what has been holding me back? What has given me the idea that I need to stand still for a moment? What has had Tyra paralyzed and missing in action on the podcast? Okay, y'all. So there's a laundry list. The biggest thing for me is a lack of a team. As a small creator, it is so hard to build out your team. And don't get me wrong, I have done it a few times actually, but it always ends up falling flat for various reasons. The main reason being life changes or other things taking more precedence for some of my team members. And on a grand scale, I am still a smaller creator. So when money calls, you better pick up the phone. And that's what some of my team members were forced to do, which I urged them to do. But y'all, that building brick by brick can get discouraging. And this last time that happened to me, I needed an urgent and unplanned break. And that's why we are here. So then here comes isolation on top of this idea of, hey, I'm doing this alone. Don't really know if I can. It's overwhelming. I turned to podcasting in 2020 because we were in an isolated state as a nation, as a world. And now that the world is kinda, but not really back to normal, actually, I should probably just say we're at our new normal. I feel isolated sitting behind a screen all the time. And for context, if you are confused by that, I live in Los Angeles, California, which is far away from family. I'm originally from Louisiana, and I'm actually here in California to focus on my acting career. But, anyways, I am here in LA. My full time job is remote, and I work as a social media producer. So I'm always in my apartment, always in front of my computer. And then you throw on top of that my podcast and other content creation I do on YouTube, which I haven't touched in over a year now, and Instagram and TikTok. And it just became too much screen time. And y'all, the laundry list goes on, and I don't mean to dump. I just really want to give you guys a little bit of insight into what's been going on in my world. And honestly, I'm seeing a lot more creators start to share this bit of it, this more relatable bit, because everybody out here trying to do something. And everybody out here is maybe starting from scratch or starting from ground zero in terms of knowledge, resources, finances, whatever. And that's all I'm really trying to do because I've gotten a lot of messages from you guys like, hey, girl, what a podcast at? Stop playing and all of that stuff. But as I said, the laundry list continues to go on. And another thing on that list is that, y'all, I've been dealing with imposter syndrome, constantly asking myself, who am I to talk about this stuff? And debunking that thought by saying, if not me, then who? But the biggest part of this whole battle is that I'm no longer in therapy. Well, for the time being, I'm no longer in therapy. My old therapist and I's relationship ran its course, and I'm grateful for it. And I have been occasionally looking for a new therapist that also takes my insurance now that I have a full time job instead of using BetterHelp, which you already know BetterHelp is a great resource, especially if you do not have health insurance. Um, and I'm in a very peaceful state of life, y'all. When I started this podcast, I was a sad girl. And as an emotional creative, this is what helped me to flourish, I believe, in Affirmations for Black Girls. But these days, I want to spend my time doing activities, especially since it's about to be summer, y'all. I'm traveling more, I'm doing pottery, I'm boxing just about every day, going out with friends, I'm making dope memories, hosting more events in real life, all of that, y'all. And as one person, I cannot keep juggling everything by myself. Growing up, Black voices in media, though hard to come by, were my compass. Here at AFBG, Black representation is the very heartbeat of what we do. Representation isn't just about visibility, it's about carving out a space where Black stories can thrive and resonate. From pioneers like Oprah Winfrey breaking barriers on TV to amazing women like Viola Davis, Octavia Spencer, and Taraji P. Henson, who showed me that Black girls can command the screen. These Black faces and voices have been a guiding light in my life, not only by entertaining me, but also educating me and empowering me. And now, NPR brings you the next generation of influential Black voices in their new collection, Black Stories, Black Truths. Every episode is a living account about what it means to be Black today, each told from a unique Black perspective that is as nuanced as the Black experience itself. From Bobby Shmurda to The Wire, Michelle Obama to reparations, there's no limit to the range of Black stories, Black truths. I recently listened to the episode titled For Black Men, Barriers to Mental Health Care Can Be Complex, and I love how the host seemed to create a safe space for discussing these complex barriers Black men face when accessing mental health care. It was very refreshing to hear the classic NPR vibe, but with a soulful twist. Black perspectives haven't always been centered in America's story, but now they are the story because stories should never be about us without us. Listen now to Black Stories, Black Truths from NPR, wherever you get your podcasts. I sometimes feel like the world is on my shoulders and While I don't feel pressure in a negative way, I give myself the leeway to just put the podcast on hold when the burden seems to get a little thicker. And that's just not fair to y'all. You guys send the most thoughtful emails, DMs, messages, and pour your hearts out to me. And I couldn't be more grateful for you guys being grateful for me creating this podcast. And I don't want to continue to leave y'all high and dry. So, my one pledge to each and every one of y'all listening is to do a better job of communicating when I do need a break, especially since I'm one person. And I know if you haven't been in the creative space, you may not understand the vastness that is a creative. You are your own administrative assistant, you are your own production crew, you are also the talent, you are also the editor, you're the creative director, you are every part of the process. And that can become very overwhelming. And specifically for me, the communication part or not having an answer part when I need to communicate to you guys is what is the most daunting for me. And that's why I just don't say nothing at all because in my head, I'm like, well, maybe I'll just come back in a couple of days. I'll just post the episode late, whatever the case may be. That's typically what I'm thinking in my head. I never really make the time to sit down and say, okay, I'm definitely coming back on this date. And the reason for that is one, I'm going to be honest with you guys. While my podcast is very, very, very successful, one, it used to be a hobby or it started as a hobby, but also it's not my main source of income. So I'm unable to prioritize the podcast as number one in a sense of do the podcast and whatever else can just fall to the wayside or I can just put off something or, push something off or just let it just not get done. I can't do that at where I am right now as one person having all of these other things that I want to do, all of those things. So, again, my one pledge to you guys is to do a better job communicating when I do need a break. And I think the scariest part of that for me is thinking that you guys will not come back when I do come back. And that mindset makes it hard for us to continue cultivating this little community that we've built. And for that, you guys, I am truly sorry. I've just wanted to spend more of my time exploring different creative avenues. As you guys know, my name is Tyra the Creative. I started this content creation journey in 2017 on YouTube, and I wanted to post about being a pastry chef. I wanted to post about post cooking videos and showing recipes and all of that type of stuff. And now we're here, right? My focus has shifted a little bit, and I'm still workshopping how to mesh all the things together that I like to do in a better way, especially when my previous goal when I first started things was to keep everything separate. So everything had its own separate pool because everybody was like niche down, niche down, niche down, have a niche, have a niche, have a niche, all of that stuff. So the idea when I first started the podcast, my YouTube channel, posting on Instagram was to keep everything separate, but the through line was that I am Tyra the Creative. Still workshopping that though. So this part will definitely take a little more time, but I'm in a space where it's imperative that I pour into me. I am about to be 30 years old this year, and that alone is very daunting, but I cannot give from an empty cup. And I have said this to y'all in plenty of episodes. I cannot give from an empty cup, especially creatively. I have to live life to have things to share with y'all. And I'm mainly saying this for myself right now, but I cannot expect to have something to discuss if all I do is sit behind a computer all day. And if you follow me on Instagram or even TikTok, then you will know that I have been living this year, y'all. I've traveled so much, oh, so much, y'all, and have had so many great experiences this year. So if you ever see me go quiet over here on the podcast, listen to me now. You can always follow my, I was about to say personal pages, but whatever. I'm a content creator. Y'all know that. You can always go and follow my personal pages for life updates. I post Instagram stories literally almost every day, TikToks at least once a week, whether it's me unboxing something that I ordered off of Amazon or showing y'all my new earrings. Like, I'm always posting over there, and my Instagram feed is filled with foodie content and me traveling and all of that stuff. And as I just said earlier, I am a pastry chef, and my life mainly revolves around food and dope experiences. So follow me on all of my socials at Tyra the Creative. I know most of you already know about that, but please, please, please go and follow me on my main personal page. And don't forget about the Affirmations for Black Girls Instagram, specifically if you would rather stick to just the mental health stuff. But I say all that to say, I am meeting me where I am, and I would not be here without each and every one of you. So, now, what is next for AFBG? Y'all, I have so many plans, but again, I am currently, as of mid February, a one woman show again. So we may be slow rolling for a bit longer in that arena, but I do want to lean on my community. I really want you guys' help, and I am purposefully only including this information in this podcast episode. So thank you guys so much for listening and rocking with your girl, even though it's been a month since you've heard from me. But please listen carefully and pause this episode if you need to go grab a pen and a piece of paper. Okay. For the months of June and July, I would like to extend, no, I would love to extend to you all an invitation to be a guest host on the podcast. Now, I am a Black girl, and this is Affirmations for Black Girls, but we are not a monolith. I think I want to call this series our Summer Story series. I don't really know yet. The name is still a work in progress. But I would like to invite you to take my place for your very own episode of the Affirmations for Black Girls podcast. You get to pick the topic, you write the outline, you record the episode, you share your experience and your story. You will work hand in hand with me, so don't get scared. You will work hand in hand with me to craft an amazing episode for the entire community to hear. All of the details of how to submit are down in the show notes right now. But the most important thing to note is that the deadline to submit is, since June is basically almost here, I'm only giving you 6 days to submit your idea. All submissions are due on May 21st. 2024. Once again, that is May 21st, 2024. And I'm going to do it until midnight Pacific time because that's where I am. So, or 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on May 21st, 2024. And the only way to submit is through the submission link below in the show notes of this episode. And I'm not posting this anywhere else. As of right now, anyway, I'm not posting this anywhere else. Only you guys that are listening to the episode have this opportunity so far. So go ahead and submit your idea. If you have any trouble submitting via the link, please send me an email at affirmationsforblackgirls@gmail.com. This is the only email you should try to reach me at. No DMs, none of that. So I really cannot wait to see what some of your ideas are. And I am truly excited to share this journey with some of you, and I cannot wait to spotlight you. For this summer stories series, I'm only looking for single hosted episodes, so you and a friend cannot do it together. We're only doing single hosts for this go round, and maybe if this worked out, who knows what's going to happen in the future, right? And I'm purposely telling you guys because, especially at this part of the episode, because you guys know what an Affirmations for Black Girls episode sounds like. We want to mimic the OG Affirmations for Black Girls style, which is, all of the episodes that I do by myself. And don't worry, my editors will handle all the editing. You'll just be responsible for the idea, curating the episode, and recording it. Please make sure. Now I feel like this is just becoming like the whole submission right here, but make sure that you have a mic. That is included in the form when you are submitting. If you have a mic, please let me know. I'm going to be honest. If you do not have a microphone, mm, baby girl, I don't think this is the one for you. But in the form, I have included some microphone options that you can go out and purchase if podcasting is your dream or something like that. I feel like this is a great way to exercise that muscle. So I want this to be fun, you guys, and be a chance for you to share your story. And I just can't wait to read all of the submissions and choose who will be spotlighted in our summer stories series. And lastly, aside from that, since I've said all that I've said before in this episode, if you're interested in working with the AFBG team, I am currently looking for a podcast producer, a social media producer, a copywriter, a creative assistant, and a graphic designer to join the team. If you have experience in any of these fields, let me say that again. If you have experience in any of these fields, please email me your resume and a nicely written cover letter to affirmationsforblackgirls@gmail.com with the subject line, I want to join your team dash the role you want. So for example, I want to join your team slash or not slash hyphen or whatever. It doesn't really matter, but I want to join your team hyphen creative assistant. And I cannot stress this enough. Y'all, I am looking for team members with experience that are experts in what they do. If you know your resume ain't gonna cut it, sis, let's sit this one out, please. For my sanity and for me, for the betterment of the podcast, and for me to keep on posting, and for me to have the bandwidth to do all of the things to build out the team and still post. Y'all already know we talking about this on the podcast right now. For me and my sanity, please sit this one out. If you do not have the experience, if you do not have the credentials to back it up, send me your resume, a cover letter, and if you have a portfolio, send that as well to affirmationsforblackgirls@gmail.com with the subject line, I want to join your team, and then a hyphen, and then the role that you are applying for. Creative assistant, podcast producer, social media producer, copywriter, creative assistant, graphic designer, right? But seriously, you guys, oh gosh, I'm super excited for some of the ideas that I have in mind. I'm thinking community events, both virtual and in person. I actually just had a meeting about AFBG events today. Look, even when y'all don't hear from me, I am still working. I'm still thinking about the podcast because AFBG is a lifestyle at this point. It is not just a podcast for me. But yes, those are the updates, and that is the honest conversation that I wanted to have with you. And if you have any suggestions on the podcast, things you would like to hear, or just anything that you want to put in the suggestion box, please fill out the community connection form that is literally always attached in the show notes of every episode, and share what you'd like to see. Again, we are not a monolith. I want to make sure every Black girl feels seen in some way. ADHD, a four-letter acronym that stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Across our society and throughout modern history, it has also come to represent harmful stereotypes, debilitating assumptions, and unconscious bias. If you have ADHD, it can be overwhelming to find the right treatment. That's where Done comes in. Take a free 1-minute assessment and book an appointment with a licensed ADHD clinician as soon as the next day. Get continuous care, insurance coverage, and 24/7 care team support with Done for just $79 a month and pharmacy copays as low as $0. Unlock your path to better focus now at get.donefirst.com/podcast. Done. Turn ADHD into your strength.